All right, success. On to the wildlife area. If they'll let us in, because it's late. Not late, it's 10 past 5 and they close at 6. And we still have to drive back to get out the gate. There are gates there, but we don't know if we can go out of those gates. And it's raining up ahead quite seriously. Some dark purple clouds up ahead. Heading out of Hwange now. We've just learned that 2 other sets of people saw lion, so a bit envious that we didn't see any. It's a really nice park, we enjoyed it. A bit underwhelmed at the amount of wildlife that we saw, was hoping to see a bit more. Was really hoping to see Cape Buffalo, which we didn't see unfortunately. But otherwise it's a very nice place. Really enjoyed Robin's camp. Very nicely set up campsite. Staff was great, management of the site was great, the site itself was pretty awesome, we really enjoyed it. So we're now on the way to Matobo National Park, which is just outside of Bulawayo. That's going to be about a 7-hour drive. It's 500 and some odd kilometers altogether. So from here to Hwange town, where we will fill up with diesel. Managed to get 20 liters from Robin's camp, which is sufficient to get us to where we need to fill up. From Hwange, straight shot through to Bulawayo. We'll do our PCR test because we're going to cross the border 2 days from now. So that gives us just enough time to cross the border into South Africa. Hopefully, of course, the tests are negative. We're not in contact with a lot of people, so we're hoping that we're going to have negative PCR tests. That's what remains of our journey. From here, Hwange, fill up, Bulawayo, PCR test through to Matobo, spend 2 nights there. Looking forward to that as well. And then from there, it will be back to the Republic of South Africa, back to Johannesburg. So just went through Bulawayo. According to Google Maps, the lab closes at 7 p.m, which it does, but they only do PCR tests from 8 to 3 and not at that lab but at one of their other stations. So we've got to go there tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock and then collect our results a bit later in the day. So that's kind of going to affect our intent to explore Matobo National Park. It's about a 50-kilometer drive. It does mean kind of splitting our day up, which is not ideal. We still have the opportunity to explore Matobo National Park. We finally at our campsite, which is Big Cave Camp, next door to Matobo National Park. It's on the property adjacent to the park. Got you a little bit late. Sun was pretty much setting or set at that point. We're gonna be in the rooftop tent tonight. We've got a nice fire going here, which is pretty nice to have. It rained before we got here. We can see that there's been quite a bit of rain. It's surprisingly a little bit chilly, so I don't know if it's cold or if we've just gotten used to the temperatures in the Zambezi Valley. I'm actually wearing a jacket for the first time, a nice light fleece jacket. So it's a significant change from where we've been over the last few weeks. Yeah, it's a long drive to get here, so glad to be seated and have a rest. Gonna make up some dinner now and hopefully get to bed a bit early tonight. There's a donkey going that's going to give us some hot water for a nice hot shower. Back to Bulawayo tomorrow, do the PCR test first thing in the morning, back to Matobo National Park, explore the park for the day, back to Bulawayo, pick up the PCR results, either that or pick them up on the next morning on our way out to Beit Bridge. Either way, I really hope the results are negative. Impossible to know until the test results actually come. I don't have any reason to think they would not be negative, but it's impossible to know. So, fingers crossed. PCR test done. Very quick, $40 US with a, it includes a 30% discount. So actually not badly priced. Results will take 3.5 to 4 hours. you have to have a Zimbabwean phone number to get your results. So that's kind of weird. They can't or won't send them to your phone number if it's not a Zimbabwean phone number. So something to take note of. You've then got to use the phone number of the place that you're staying or somebody in Zimbabwe, whatever the case is. Anyway, that's sorted. Waiting for the results now. Back to Matobo National Park now. Gonna see what there is to see. Matobo is really close to Bulawayo. It's about 30 kilometers or so south of Bulawayo. Really easy to get here, all tar road all the way. Driving in the park itself, most of the roads are tar road, although there are some dirt roads. However, most of it is tar road, and even the dirt roads are pretty easy to traverse. What is it? Is that a giant kingfisher, bro?
Oh, that's a giant kingfisher, bro.
Connect the SLB.
It's just, yes, like it's developing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, oh, wow.
Yeah, of course. You gotta go all log when you're a giant, bro. We've spent the afternoon exploring Matobo National Park. Our biggest interest is to go and see the caves with the rock paintings done by the San people tens of thousands of years ago, as much as potentially 42,000 years ago. And it's a pretty interesting sight to kind of be there and see stuff on walls that was made by human beings millennia ago. It's a really awesome thing to experience. Matobo Park itself is pretty beautiful, and it's set amongst these granite outcrops here, or granite batholiths as they're otherwise called, and they're pretty spectacular. So it's really cool just driving around here. And you can do a couple of hikes and walks as well. We don't really have the time to do that, so we're kind of just cruising around and having a look at the park in general. There's a wildlife area as well where they've reintroduced both black and white rhino reportedly. And interestingly, Matobo National Park reportedly has the highest concentration of leopards in the world. We're at the end of our trip now. Matobo National Park is our last stop on our epic tour of Zimbabwe, and it's pretty cool, man. I'm really enjoying the park. The setting is really beautiful with these massive granite hills in the background. There's a beautiful dam here as well, a beautiful lake, and apparently you can do some fishing here too. At this point, we've done more than 3 weeks touring Zimbabwe. It's been fantastic, but we're kind of doing the bare minimum now. I think we just want to enjoy this last day, get back on the road, head to Joburg, and get back to familiar faces, familiar stuff. So looking forward to being home as well. But it's a really beautiful place to end the trip. It's a really nice way to end the trip. It's really chilled. It does seem that there aren't a lot of people visiting these parks, particularly in the rainy season, just after the festive season, New Year's holiday type period. It's now the first week of January, so yeah, people are back to work and all the rest of it, and here we are lazing around a national park.
That's disappointing, eh?
Yeah, that is. This track's not very often used. So, driving up to Nswatugi, which is the cave that we really wanted to see because apparently that's the best preserved and also the one with the most prolific paintings. This road's not very often traveled. It's clear there aren't many tracks here, and also it's quite eroded. So this is one exception where you can't come with the normal sedan. You need a significant amount of clearance. And now we've got to reverse down this rather narrow, eroded track. So yeah, it's not fun. But yeah, a bit disappointed. Was really looking forward to seeing that particular cave. and we've driven quite a significant way to get here, but nah, not happening. And it's not happening because there's a tree that has fallen across the track quite recently by the looks of it. It's a good thing we only have to reverse to the T junction, which is quite far away.
Are we there yet?
We can turn around here.
Okay, great.
Just look on your side there. Looks like we can turn around there, right?
Yeah, on the rocks.
Can I turn? I must go forward again.
Just watch that departure. It's only a 3.2. It's not bad at all.
Alright, success! On to the wildlife area. If they'll let us in. This is late. Not late, it's 10 past 5 and they close at 6. And we still have to drive back to get out the gate. There are gates there, but we don't know if we can go out of those gates. And it's raining up ahead quite seriously. Some dark purple clouds up ahead. Okay, try and drive around this. There's another tree that's fallen over the road here. Now, I had initially said that a lot of these roads you can do with a normal city-going sedan, but definitely not the roads that we're on now. Quite eroded, looks like very seldom traversed. There's no evidence of any other tire tracks on this road. This is the road to the Maleme wildlife area. You need a car with good clearance for this.
Happy New Year.
Yourself. I think you've enjoyed it, eh?
Yeah, that's been great. It's been good.
So we are checking out.
Yeah, we're gonna leave, but we want to go into the wilderness area. I think there's still half an hour.
We close at 6.
Final night in Zimbabwe. Had a nice day today at Matobo National Park. It was pretty cool, driving around. Had our PCR test as well today. That was pretty quick. Don't know the results because we're back at Big Cave Camp. There's no signal here. So, won't know the results until we pick them up tomorrow morning. Hopefully those results will be negative. And then we can get on our way back to Joburg. That's going to involve, of course, refueling, driving to Beit Bridge, getting through Beit Bridge, getting through the South African side of the border, and then driving through to Joburg. It's going to be a long drive. It's quite a significant journey to do in one go, but we are 2 drivers, myself and my significant other, and we'll do relay as usual. So our usual strategy is to do 2-hour sessions each along the way. So, one more braai for the road, one more Zambezi lager for the road, and that's us for Zim. Hopefully cross the border without any issues tomorrow. PCR tests in hand, very happy about that. It took them a while to find our results, which was a bit worrying, but anyway, after 15 minutes of toing and froing, it was found and printed, all negative. Time to hit the road. So this and some fuel, and that's the last things we need to do before we hit the border, get to Beit Bridge, and hopefully no issues from there. Just arrived at Beit Bridge border post. It's 20 to 5, 4:40 p.m. There's about 20 cars in front of us in the queue. It's clear that there's construction around here, so obviously the border post is being improved as well, as it has been for the heavy duty vehicles, the commercial vehicles, and that we saw on the other side when we drove in from Messina. So hopefully that's happening here as well, and that will also be completed soon. But yeah, let's see how long it takes. Okay, it's now 10 past 6. Took us an hour and a half to get through the formalities on the Zim side. Long queue, or well, not a long queue of about 15 cars to get
into the border area. So once we've done that, get inside, pay fees to some sort of toll fee to cross the bridge, Beit Bridge. That was 125 Rand or $9 US. And then check PCR tests. That was done. Then immigration. That was done. It was very quick actually. That was done. Then customs, and we were told no, you must go to the police desk. Went to the police desk. They checked out the car papers. That was sorted out. Then drop off the TIP at another customs desk, which is outside, and that was done. Gate pass is now stamped by all the relevant officials, and then I think it's 4 stamps altogether, and then drive through. So now we're waiting to get across the bridge. There's a queue to get across the bridge as well, probably about 20 cars long. So a lot of what we've done is waiting in queues. Once we actually got into the border building, it was very quick. It was probably 15 minutes, maybe a bit more, but it was pretty quick. What's taking a long time is just kind of waiting to get into the border queue, into the border post with your car, waiting now to get across the bridge. So 6:10, just a bit more than. Wow, we haven't crossed the bridge yet, so still technically in Zimbabwe. 7 p.m. Sitting in exactly the same spot since 6:10. There seems to be almost no movement in respect of cars crossing from Zimbabwe over the Beit Bridge. We've seen trucks go across, we've seen cars and trucks come this way. Just spoke to one of the immigration guys to try and find out what's going on. He says they're regulating traffic across the bridge because it has a weight carrying capacity, and they're just trying to keep order with respect to cars going across the bridge and, well, vehicles going across the bridge. Yeah, we've been kept in order for the better part of an hour, and it doesn't look like anything's happening here. So a bit frustrating because we've done everything we need to do, to get across the bridge officially. We're just kind of sitting here wasting a fair amount of time. Yeah, 5 minutes past 7, and there is motion. Patience is better than no patience. Right, finally across the bridge, almost across the bridge. We're now queuing to get into South Africa. Yeah, it's been quite a story. But anyway, patience is what's required. So we're slowly making our way across the end of the bridge here. Hopefully we'll be in South Africa soon, and then we'll have to deal with the South African administrative process. Finally across the bridge! Hooray! Heading into South Africa, so now we're queuing to get into South Africa, so we're driving very slowly here at the other end of the bridge. And the last thing we had was a final check on our passports and COVID certificates from the Zim side as we got onto the bridge. Now for the South African admin process. Yay!
Right, we are in the Republic of South Africa. Took us a little bit of time to get over the bridge. They had to look at our passports, COVID certificates. Their queue was about 15 minutes long. 1938 we got into the passport building. Immigration stamp, customs stamp for the vehicle. 1948 we were out. 2 minutes for vehicle inspection. So basically after that, handed over the gate pass, drove out. 15 minutes in total. We are now in the Republic of South Africa, driving to Musina on the N1, heading south. Final destination is the city of Johannesburg and home. Yeah! It's been great, man. Loved Zim. It's been a fantastic trip. I really wanted to do this for a long time. We had a lot of hurdles to get here and to get into the country and to start the trip, but managed to overcome all of them. And we had some really fantastic places that we stayed at, things that we experienced. We had a couple of challenges along the way, but that's the norm. The car, 4x4, the wild dog, has held us in good stead. No diff locks, of course, as you know from the beginning of this series. No center diff lock, therefore no rear or front diff lock. Fortunately, haven't been stuck, been through a bit of mud here and there, been through some rocky places, but yeah, it's been a machine. Eaten us out of pocket with the fuel consumption, but otherwise it's been really great. So I'm feeling really happy, man. I've had a great trip. We've had a great trip. It's been fantastic. This is advice for driving through the Makgadikgadi pans in the summertime. That is in the rainy season or the wet season. Don't go in the rainy season.
Okay, so Kamarana, yeah, that's pretty cool. It'd be nice to go back there. Elephant Sands, Chobe, Moremi, Makgadikgadi pans.
Yeah.
In December.
Yeah.
Why?
You regret?
Eh.